it's Miss Simpson and it's time for math today. So we are going to still be talking about multi-step problems with multiplication and division. So we have been using the UPS check strategy when we do word problems. So when we do the UPS check strategy, we have to first understand the problem. Then we plan our problem out. How are we going to solve it? Then we solve the problem. And then we go back and we check it or we explain why we chose that answer. Okay, so I understand that these word problems are kind of hard, right? But when you guys get on help time and you haven't even attempted the word problems, then it kind of makes it hard for me to know what you're not understanding. So before anybody gets on help time or before anybody asks their parents for help, I want you to try it first. What that means is when you come to help time or when you ask your parents, you should have all of them answered. Unless you just flat out don't know where to start, I want you to try and answer all of them before you ask for help. Because coming up, we have some tests, and you don't get help on those tests, unfortunately. And so that means that you're going to have to do it all by yourself. So I want to start practicing doing things by ourselves. So remember, you have to answer all of them by yourself first before you ask for help. Now, if you get it wrong, that's okay because your parent or me on help time, I'm there to help you and make sure that you get it right. So today we're going to do some practice problems, and then I'm just going to go ahead and let you go work on your assignment because it's going to take you a little bit longer today. There's about 8 or so problems, maybe a little bit less. So again, I want you to try them all by yourself. Word problems are really hard to teach because you kind of just have to do them. No word problem is the same. You just have to try it and work it out and do them. So I want you right now, we're going to do 3 practice problems together, and then I'm going to let you go ahead and go. So everybody get out a piece of paper, and I want you to write 3 UPS boxes. This is box 1. This is box 2. And box 3. So today on your assignment, you're going to have space to show your work, but I'm not going to, actually, you know what? You don't have space to show your work. I'm sorry. It looks like this. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions. You don't have space to show your work, so you need to do your work on a separate piece of paper. You can either turn in that piece of paper and this or just one or the other. Please just make sure you circle your answers, A, B, C, or D. Don't just show your work. Make sure to put on there A, B, C, or D. That's why a lot of you missed so many of them last week because you didn't put your answer. So then I didn't know what you were trying to say. Okay, so let's start off with practice problem number 1. Okay, during the 6-day spring break, Isabel got $15 allowances each day. She saved all her allowance and spent all of them to buy 5 books of equal price. How much is the price of each book? So there are 2 steps to this problem. So in my understand box, I am going to write, I know there's 2 steps. I know that there's 2 steps because they are saying, basically, I need to know how much money she has altogether in order to know how much she spent on the 5 books that she has. So there are 2 steps. So I know she's got 6 days, $15 each day. I also know that she bought 5 books. So if I have, and this is just a calendar. If I have $15 each day, and then she's going to use those $15 to buy 5 books. So I have got to know the total. How much money does she have in total? And then I can split it up into 5. So I am going to start off with doing 15 times 6 because there are 6 boxes with 15 in each. You could also add 15 plus 15 plus 15 plus 15 plus 15. So 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 1 is 6, 7, 8, 9. So now I've got the total, and I've got to split that up into groups. Remember, when you hear the word groups, you automatically think of what? I hope that you said division. You automatically think of division when you think of groups. So you would take your 5 books, and you would divide 90 by those 5 books, because that'll give you how many each of the book costs. Okay, so 5 can go into 9 one time. 5 times 1 is 5, and 9 minus 5 is 4. Now I'm going to bring down that 0. 5 can fit into 40 8 times. 8 times 5 is 40. So how much money did she spend on each of the books? $18. Notice how I labeled it with the dollar sign and I circled it. Now here's the one that you guys really have trouble with, and it's the check. So I am going to check my division problem. When you check your division problem, so what is the opposite of addition? Subtraction, right? What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So if you are going to do the opposite operation, so if I just did division, what am I going to do? I'm going to multiply. And when you check your answers on division, you do the outside numbers. Your quotient times your divisor. 8 times 5 is 40. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 4 is 9. So then this number is your dividend. Notice my quotient times my divisor is going to give me my dividend. So that's how you check a division problem. You do the opposite. And even with addition and subtraction, you do the opposite. Okay, so let's try another one. Michael collected 4 eggs from 4 eggs. Sorry, guys, let's start over. Michael collected 4 eggs each from 15 chicken nests. He filled as many cartons as he can with the eggs that he collected. How many egg cartons did he fill? How many egg cartons did he fill if the carton has a space for 12 eggs? Okay, so first, we know that he has 15 chicken nests with 4 eggs in each. We need to know how many cartons. If they fit 12 eggs each. So I automatically know that we have a multi-step problem here. I know that because I've got to know how many total eggs he has in order to figure out how many fit in each of those 12 cartons. So let's go ahead and let's set up our problem. On this one, instead of drawing a picture, I'm going to do an equation. So in order to find out his total eggs, I'm going to multiply 15 times 4. And then, in order to find out how many cartons of eggs he has, if it is asking you to put it into groups, so I'm going to take this total and I'm going to put it into a group. So that means I'm going to divide the total by 12, and that'll give me the cartons that he has. So now I can go ahead and solve it. So right now I want you to solve this problem using what I just wrote for you right here. And what I just wrote for you here, I want you to solve the problem. And I want you to try and check it by yourself, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so you should have unpaused by now, and you got 5 times 4 is 20, and 4 times 1 is 2. So here's the problem, 4 times 1 is 2. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. So I got 60. That's not my answer, because then I've got to take 60 divided by 12 equals blank. You guys don't know how to do 2-digit by 2-digit division, and that's okay. This is a simple division problem. This is your multiplication fact. So 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 12 times 3 is 36. 12 times 4 is 48. And 12 times 5 is 60. So our answer would be 5. So you should have written 5 cartons. Over here, when you checked it, you could have done the opposite. So when you do the opposite, you're going to do it backwards. So 5, then I'm going to change my sign, times 12 equals 60. Does 5 times 12 equal 60? Yeah. Notice how I did it backwards. There's the 5, 12, and all I had to do is do the opposite. So you write your thing backwards and you do the opposite of what it's asking you. So if it's asking you to divide, you're going to multiply. If it's asking you to subtract, you're going to add. All right, so on this one, I'm going to have you solve the whole thing by yourself and then we'll check it. So all I'm going to do is read it to you. Emily is tidying up her closet. She initially has 6 piles of clothes, and each pile has 12 clothing. To have more space, she grouped her clothes equally into 3 piles instead. How many piles of clothes, or how many clothes are in each pile? So I want you right now to do your UPS check, the whole thing from start to finish, and then we'll check and see how you're doing. Okay, so you should have unpaused by now. If you don't have the exact same UP as I do, it's okay. The solve should be identical basically, and the check should be very similar. So for number 3, for UPS, I'm going to say she has 6 piles with 12 each. 12 pieces of clothing each. But now she's trying to sort it into 3 piles. So I'm going to do another equation. So to find the total amount of clothing she has, I'm going to do 12 times 6 because that'll give me my total just like this one. Then, just like the other one, I'm going to take that total and I'm going to divide it by these 3 piles. And that will give me how much clothing she has in each pile. So this will give me my total amount of clothing. Then I'll take that total amount of clothing and I'm going to put it into a group of 3. So it'd be like going like this, 3 piles, and I'm going to separate them out into 3 groups. So she'd be taking her clothing. She'd go 1 shirt, 2 shirt, 3 shirts, 1 shirt, 2 shirt, 3 shirts on each of the piles. So now all I have to do is solve it. So 12 times 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 1 is 72. Now I'm going to take 72 and I am going to do long division because my multiplication facts don't go up that high from my brain. And I'm going to divide it by 3, just like I said in my plan. 3 can go into 7 2 times. 7 minus 6 is 1. Bring down my 2. 3 can fit into 12 4 times. And then 3 times 4 is 12. That gives me 0. So I got 24 in each pile. So in order to check that, I'm going to do the opposite of what I just did. So I'm going to multiply. And Miss Simpson told me I always multiply the outside. 24 times 3. And that should give me my dividend. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 72. And so did I get my dividend there? Yes. So I've got the right answer. All right, guys. So I know that word problems are hard. I know they're tricky, but I want you today to go work on your paper. Yes, there are 7 questions, but remember what we're doing is you are doing them all by yourself. You have to have an answer for every single problem so that when you come to me or your parents needing help, they can check your answers and you might be right on some of them. Don't be scared to be wrong. You can be wrong when we're working together. It gets scary when you're testing, but right now is the time to be wrong. So I want everybody to try all of them by themselves. And then when you're done with all of them, you can come to me or you can come to your parents and we will check your answers. And the ones that you got wrong, we can go ahead and do with you. All right. I love you guys so much and I hope you have a great day. Bye.